that board का time इतना पीछे चला गया है, so I'll be able to complete your syllabus as well. By May June तो हो जाना चाहिए. Let us see. So you can also, as a practice, appear for real time board paper. ठीक है. Right. So I'll continue in this only 79 and 80. Okay, so we had seen key functions are of two types, built-in functions and user-defined functions. We have covered all the built-in functions except for dictionaries. Okay, maths देख लिए, we have seen strings, lists and tuples we have seen. This is left, we'll cover it someday, along with the programming of the dictionaries, right? Now then we have user-defined functions. That is, you can create your own functions that will do some processing on some values, based on some values passed to it, and then you will get some result. Okay. Right. So we had seen ki why do we need functions, man? For example, in certain cases, let's say there is this type of summation. Some series is there where 1 by 1 factorial, 2 factorial. You have to do one work, but that work has to be done with different set of values. For example, here you have to find factorial, but you have to find factorial of many different numbers. Okay, so that process of finding factorial has to be repeated for different types of values or with different values in the same problem. So ordinarily, if you proceed, what you will do is you will repeat the piece of code, okay, with that changed set of value, okay, specific to that particular value, and then you will perform. For example, if this is the problem, first you will find 1 factorial, then you will find 2 factorial, then you will find 3 factorial, 4 factorial, and 5 factorial. Generally, I am speaking, though there may be some other ways, but what I am saying is by general process, you will repeat the process of finding factorials with different set of values. So unnecessarily, your program will become lengthy, it will become complex, it will take much more time to execute, and then there may be chances of, because the number of lines increases, codes, okay, number of coding line increases, then there are also chances of some human errors. So, and time will also be consumed. Right.
In this particularly,
Sorry?
so when we see the second question, in this question, if we use functions, then the program may get a big long. If we use if we use a normal method, that will be shorter than the function method.
Why? How do you think so?
No, so here we can use a different logic and write fast.
See, that I discussed yesterday. What? Generally you can apply some different logic, but generally होगा क्या? फिर all different types of problem you will have to come up with different types of logic. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to come up with a standard some standard procedure which will be applicable to all problems of similar nature. And coming to your point कि वो function से भी it won't be very long. Okay, मैं दिखाऊंगा करके I'll solve it. Okay. So what
Like so you
function?
said one day that program should be concise and should be how you
I'll
should
show
make the
you. I'll
program
show
very
you.
small.
See, but that is correct. Program should be concise. पर जो तुम्हारा होगा कि you have come up with a logic, right? Which is a very concise program you have written. But most people may not be able to come up with those logics. So generally, when you are taught, we are taught some standard methods which can be globally used by most of the people. Okay, इसी तरह करके syllabus बना होता है for all the things. And who knows, कि for this type of problem something has clicked to you, some other type of problem something may not click to you, but something may click to someone else in your class. तो उस तरह का मेथड सीख के फिर ज्यादा फायदा नहीं है. एंड ट्रस्ट मी विद द फंक्शंस आल्सो दिस विल बी वेरी कंसाइज. बहुत ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स नहीं होगा. आई विल शो यू. ठीक है. So what does function do is similar type of work, but which has to be done with some different set of values, can be done by not writing the code again and again, minimizing the less time lines of code, minimizing the human induced error, minimizing your time utilization, minimizing your program efficiency in terms of execution time, ठीक है, everything is a benefit there. Okay, so how do we create functions? So function is just like a reusable piece of code which can be activated when a name given to it is called. Okay, so let's say ordinarily if you are writing this program to print the table of n, okay, where n is a number entered by the user, the same thing can be done. This piece of for loop and the body can be enclosed in the body of some uh, body of a name which will be defined with a def keyword, and then whenever you call that name, okay, that piece of code will be executed with the value passed to it. ठीक है, so हमने इसका ये देखा कि we find the table whenever, अब see ordinarily when you are finding the table of 10 15 20, you will first write the loop for 1 to यहाँ पे n will be 10. Next time you will write the same loop with n as 15, then here same loop with n as 20, and here same loop as n as with n as yeah 30. But here what you will do is, here you will simply write this line of code followed by tab 10, tab 15, tab 20 and tab 30 after defining this function. Remember, first the function has to be defined, then only it can be called. ऐसा नहीं कि पहले कहीं कॉल किए, एक स्टैंडर्ड प्रोसीजर है. The standard procedure is that the function should be defined first and then it can be called later on in the program with different set of values. ठीक है, जितनी बार चाहिए उतनी बार. Right. So by defining function we mean giving a name to a piece of code which can work with certain set of values passed along while calling the function. ठीक है, or while invoking the function. Okay, फिर हमने देखा था define a function which when called print the sum of two numbers passed to it as parameters while calling. तो हमने क्या किया था, def, we gave a name to this piece of code as total. We passed two numbers to it. So if you are passing two numbers, so there should be two variables inside this parenthesis of the function name, okay, which are known as parameters. So here two parameters are there because you are passing two values. So each parameter will catch one value. First value will be that you are passing while calling the function will be caught by the first parameter. The second value that you are passing will be caught by second parameter. Okay, and once that is passed, inside the it will go inside the body. That piece of this whatever is written inside the body, all those lines of code will be executed. And when the function when last line of the body is executed, the function will cease to exist and program control will return to the point from where it was called. Okay, and then it will go to the next line and will proceed. So remember, function only exists in your memory so far or till the time it is in execution. The moment its execution is done, or before the execution or after the execution, okay, function will not exist. Okay, so function only comes into existence when called. The moment it has done its work, the moment the last line of the function is done, over executed, it will exit the block of the function, come to the line where it was called, and then the function gets sort of destroyed. We had also seen that whatever we define in the block of the function or in the parameter or the header of the function, those variables, those things are not accessible from outside the function, which is known as the global scope. Also, everything inside the block and in the header, parameters of the header, is the local scope of the function, which is only accessible to the function. How big can a function be? It depends how many lines you write in the body. Okay, it depends. It totally depends on how many lines you write in the body. जितना line लिखोगे उतनी देर तक चलेगा. The moment last line in the body is executed, it will be done. Okay. Right. Don't worry, we'll see many examples. ठीक है? Yes, the purpose of function is to be concise. अरे concise लिखने का मतलब क्या है? As less line as possible. It does not mean कि necessary lines you will remove. Okay. Concise See, the main purpose is अगर keywords लिखना है ना तो you can write this way. Advantages of functions. Okay. Avoids code redundancy. Redundancy. REDUNDANCY, which can also be written as duplication.
Sir, can you explain the left hand part?
I'll explain that. उसको मैं लिख रहा था कल, वहीं रुक गया मैं. देखो जैसे यहाँ पे क्या होता, अगर फंक्शन का कंसेप्ट नहीं होता तो what you would have done is you would have written these 2-3 lines, or let's say if the functionality was or the process was in 50 lines, then you would have to repeat those 50 lines with a different set of values with 10, 15, 20, or unnecessarily the length will increase. But once you have defined the function, okay, you simply write the name of the function, done, name of the function, done, name of the function, done. One line will replace even 50 or 1000 line also can be replaced by one line by calling it. Okay, so it reduces the lines of code, saves times execution, makes it simpler. Reduces the lines of code, saves time. Okay. Execution time is improved. Improves modularity, or makes your program modular. I'll explain this point, but later on. Modular इसको हम लोग divide and conquer approach भी कहते हैं. I'll explain what it means. This is also a very big advantage, rather the main advantage. Conquer approach. Without this concept, you know, though वो जो होता है ना auto driving cars, washing machines, वो सब का कोडिंग नहीं हो पाएगा without concept of functions. I'll explain. ठीक है, अभी के लिए बस ये रखो. I'll explain this part. Others are self-explanatory. ये सब कि avoids code redundancy, reduces the lines of code, saves your time, execution time is improved. ठीक है. Now coming to this part, हमने देखा था कि we also saw in this that function for sum of two numbers, man. Can you use this outside? If you use C outside, what will happen? We stopped at this point, right?
C is not defined, sir.
It's not defined.
Not defined. Why? Because
It's local
you
variable.
have defined it, or you have created it inside the local scope of the function, which is not visible to the global scope. See, local scope and global scope you can consider in what way, like, you understand? Let's say there is a big field. In that field you have one house, right? And from outside the house, can others see what is going on inside, considering the windows are closed and everything is closed? No.
Oh,
Right. So वो sort of in the global world there is a very small world. ठीक है, bigger world में एक smaller world impose हो गया है थोड़ी देर के लिए for some time. Okay, and when you are in the small world, it is just like in this on this earth you have one house. From outside the house, you cannot see what is going on inside the house, considering all the doors and windows are shut. Okay, so इसी वजह से whatever is going on inside the house is not known to the outside world. So इसलिए whatever is there in the out of the block of the function, okay, and once the function is not in the, इसका एक और रीजन है. See, what I have told is कि the moment function is done executing, what happens? Function ceases to be in the existence. देखो function कब होगा? At when the moment it is called, it will get created. The function gets created in the memory. Uh, A is created in the local scope of the function. B is created in the local scope of the function. C is created in the local scope of the function. A gets the value passed to it as 2. B gets the value as passed to it as 3. Okay, C gets the value as A plus B. Okay, sum of A and B, which is there in the local scope of the function. It prints the C, comes out. The moment it comes out, this gets destroyed. The moment it gets destroyed, and if you're again trying to access C, where is C? There is no C. वो घर का काम होने के बाद घर ही डिस्ट्रॉय हो गया. हाउस itself got destroyed, so you cannot have the C. There is no C because this itself got destroyed, the entire thing. इसीलिए it is not accessible. ठीक है, it's a closed system. Till the time it is executing, only for that duration, inside the function all these things are active. The moment its last line is executed, it will come back here, go to the next line, and it will cease to be in the existence. Okay, so before execution and after the execution, both the time the function is dormant or out of existence. ठीक है, rather not dormant, out of existence. Only during the execution it comes up, does its job, gets destroyed, comes out. ठीक है. Now, my question is, yesterday I stopped at this point. If any result, let's say inside the function, is important enough to be used later down in the program, and that thing has been calculated inside the body of the function. So how do you get that value outside the local scope to the global scope before the function is destroyed? Because once the function is destroyed, तो सब कुछ चला जाएगा, all the value that was created and used. So before the function is destroyed, how can you pass on the value to the outside world, that is the global scope, before the house itself in the world gets destroyed? तो उसके लिए क्या करते हैं? There is another keyword which has got a predefined meaning, that is known as return. Okay, तो यहाँ पे मैं वही लिख रहा था, if any result computed in the body of the function has to be used outside the function, that is in the global scope, then return keyword has to be used. Okay, using return keyword, this program can be modified as this way. This is without return, and this is with return. Okay. It's like a window. Before the house gets destroyed, somebody will throw something out to the global world. कि देखो भाई मैं तो जा रहा हूँ, मेरी तरफ से ये चीज है, इसे संभाल के रखना. You preserve it. It's very important for you. ठीक है? Just like that. So it will be something like def.
Sir, is return a function?
No, it's a keyword. You remember one del operator?
Yes, sir. Delete.
Yes, sir.
Delete. तो वो function नहीं ना था, उसके साथ you won't use parenthesis. I'll show you. Instead of printing, we will write return space C. What will happen? The moment return keyword is executed or encountered in the body of a function, Okay, function will come out of the body, function will cease to exist, but not before throwing a value, okay, but not before throwing a value from here to the outside world. पहले थ्रो कर देगा, throws and then gets destroyed. ठीक है, पहले वैल्यू फेंक देगा. It's just like in the world, house is on fire. Somebody from inside the house will throw it something out to the outside people. Preserve it. It's very important. And then will collapse with the house. ठीक है, कुछ उस तरह का होता है. Just very पता नहीं, बहुत गंदा सा एग्जाम्पल था, पर समझ लो. Okay, so it will happen like this. Now, if somebody has thrown, मान लो कि a person is throwing some jewelry. You see, it is very precious. Whether I survive or not, the person has house is on fire. The person has thrown some jewelry. I survive or not, preserve my jewelry. ठीक है. Now tell me, you call this function. पहले तो function call होगा, तभी वो आएगा. Total 2,3. The moment you call the function, it will get inside with values 2 and 3. You will find the sum in C. Okay. And then you are not doing anything. You are simply calculating the value of C and you are throwing out. But agar मान लो कि if somebody throws out something from the window, then how the outside world can utilize it? कोई तो होना चाहिए catch करने वाला ना.
Yes, sir.
We need to
Understood?
store it.
हाँ. So there should be someone to catch that value. ठीक है? So how you will catch that value? You will catch that value by storing it in a variable. So you can write something like x is equals to total AB. ठीक है? तो क्या होगा? You remember? Function is defined. Nothing will happen because function does not get called till the time it is invoked till the time it is called by writing the name. So interpreter will start seeing, it will ignore okay, some function definition is there. I don't have to worry about it because it will not be there in the existence till the time it is called. So it will come to this line. Okay. Then if this line x is equals to something is there, remember right side of the equal to is evaluated first. As a part of the execution of the right side of the equal to, that is assignment operator, the function gets called. The moment the function gets called, the value here, let's say the value 2 and 3 will be passed to the whatever is there in the parenthesis of total, that is A and B. A will get 2, B will get 3. Remember, this A and B are known as the parameters of the function definition. Okay, so parameter A will get 2, parameter B will get 3. This will also be there in the local scope of the function. Now this function has value A and B. Using this value, it will perform some processing. Here we are calculating the sum. The sum will, once calculated, will be thrown out. Okay, once it is thrown out, it gets destroyed. Okay, so then this value will be replaced by what? 5. This file 5 then gets what? Saved to x, right? So first function is called, processing is done, value is thrown. So this entire function call gets replaced by this single value which is thrown out. Okay, and then this value gets assigned to the left hand side, that is x. So x becomes 5. And now if you want later down in the program, use it, right? Print x. Okay. Now you may ask, sir, when to return and when not to return? Okay, because see, there are two things. Either you display here or you throw out and then display from the global scope. Okay, so I'll write here. This is an error. Okay. So there are two options. Either you pass the value and as the part of the execution of the function block itself, you print the result, or you don't do anything there, throw the result and then display somewhere in the global scope later down in the program. So now you may ask when to throw the value and when not to throw the value, or when to return and when not to return. The answer is totally up to you. But as a universal convention, the general practice that the programmers follow is when any such operation or processing is done for which whatever result is coming is not needed anywhere outside the function further down later in the program, then you may not return the value. मतलब क्या? If the function's role is something like your function will do some work, but it won't generate any value which will be, for example, used later down in the program in the global scope, then you need not return anything from the function. That is, pass the values, do some operation, consume it there only. Okay.
Sir,
But
but if we use return also stuff, no, like not a problem, no, sir.
not a problem. But what I am saying is a good programming practice. Okay, that's what I am saying. You can do it, nobody will question you, but good programmers generally follow this convention. What is the convention? I'll repeat again. If the value, I'll write it. नहीं तो याद नहीं रहेगा. Note.
Sir, you can write the use of return keyword.
Huh?
Use of return keyword.
अच्छा, return keyword. चलो. Outside the loop, Aditya, there is no loop. Function definition is not loop. Loop is for and while. क्या बोल रहे हो? Let me know if you have some doubt here. ये तो फंक्शन बना रहे हैं. फंक्शन इज नॉट लाइक अ लूप. वो बार बार खुद से नहीं चलता है. लूप विल रन ऑटोमेटिकली वन आफ्टर द अदर एज मेनी टाइम्स एज यू हैव स्पेसिफाइड, और इन केस ऑफ व्हाइल लूप टिल द टाइम द हेडर इज ट्रू. But this function will be called, this piece of code will be executed the moment you call its name, along with some values which has to be passed to it. तभी वो चलेगा. उसके पहले it won't be into existence. After that it won't be into existence. If you write a function and don't do anything, program will do nothing because function won't get activated on its own. Okay. चलो next page में मैं लिख देता हूँ. हाँ, X is outside the function. देखो ना. It is in the same line as def ना. ये block के बाहर हो गया फिर. I have brought back the indentation to the same level. The indentation defines ki whether it is inside the block or not. Okay. Return keyword. So when I write return is a keyword, can you use it as an identifier name?
No, sir.
Yeah. Store. Pass. Values result. Pass value. Result from the local scope of the program to the global scope my bet is around almost 100% one question will come. Define local scope and global scope. बोर्ड में आएगा इस बार. सैंपल पेपर में भी है. इट्स पिछले लास्ट ईयर भी सैंपल पेपर में था. इट्स वन ऑफ द वेरी बेसिक क्वेश्चंस. Okay. Return is used to pass value result from the local scope of the program to the global scope so that it can be used It may be used later down in the program. Okay. When to use return and when not to use return. Return, when not to use return. Okay. When to use, when not to use. If after the processing of the function, the result or action done or found, the result found or action, लिख देते हैं result found, चलो समझ जाना, result found or operation performed is not to be, is not required further, not required further outside the body, further outside the body or further outside in the global scope, then explicit return statement may not be used. Return statement may not be used. For example, ठीक है, मान लो एक एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं, write a function which when called, यहाँ पे लिख सकते हो, write example, write a function which when called prints a greeting message. ठीक है, मतलब क्या, जब वो फंक्शन को कॉल करेंगे तो कुछ इट शुड प्रिंट समथिंग लाइक गुड मॉर्निंग, गुड इवनिंग, ओके, समथिंग लाइक दैट. तो उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, यू कैन राइट डेफ, लेट्स से मेथड का नाम रख, फंक्शन का नाम रख देते हैं, यू कीप इट एज ग्रीट, वी नीड नॉट पास एनीथिंग टू इट, तो पैरामीटर विल बी एम्प्टी, ओके, in the parenthesis will be empty, and then you can write print good morning. ठीक है, and then जब इसको कॉल करना होगा later down in the program, anywhere you simply write greet, क्या होगा? The moment you will print write this, it will print, है ना? तो अब बताओ इस तरह का कोई मेथड डिक्लेयर की हो जहां पे द पर्पस इज सिंपली ग्रीटिंग एंड जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल. इस तरह का, दिस इज वन ऑफ द सिंपलेस्ट एग्जांपल्स. देयर विल बी मेनी केस वेयर यू डोंट नीड टू yeah use it. For example, write a program to pass a number, write a program to pass a number or integer, or you can say a natural number to a function as parameter and print its table. टेबल प्रिंट करने के बाद वो टेबल को कहां लेके जाओगे? लेटर डाउन इन द प्रोग्राम इट वोंट बी रिक्वायर्ड. ठीक है, इन दैट केस आल्सो. और प्रिंटिंग अ टेबल, उसमें भी कुछ नहीं करना है, उसका डिपेंडेंसी नहीं है ग्लोबल स्कोप में. वंस यू हैव प्रिंटेड द टेबल दैट इज ओके. हाउ विल यू नीड इट इन द लेटर डाउन इन द प्रोग्राम? ठीक है, तो इन सच केसेस यू नीड नॉट रिटर्न. बताओ ये एग्जांपल समझ में आया? व्हेन टू यूज एंड व्हेन नॉट टू यूज.
Yes, sir.
अभी हम लोग ये देखें, एवरीवन, व्हाट अबाउट गर्ल्स, आर दे देयर? हाँ बताओ. फर्स्ट, आर यू ऑल गेटिंग दिस कंसेप्ट? ऑफ कोर्स we'll be seeing many programs. रुचिका, पूजा,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
नैनिका, समझ में आ रहा है? गेटिंग? ओके, राइट. सो अब एक एग्जांपल देख लेते हैं कि व्हेन नॉट टू यूज, सॉरी, व्हेन टू रिटर्न. When to use return. अब उस क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं. Which one? This one. 1 by 1 factorial 2y ऐसे करके. So example, compute 1 by 1 factorial plus 2 by 2 factorial plus 3 by 3 factorial plus ऐसे dot dot n by n factorial. ओके, इसका सॉल्यूशन देखो. फंक्शन कितनी सिंपली बना देगा इसको. व्हाट आई विल डू इज आई विल सिंपली राइट अ प्रोग्राम. ओके, जैसे फर्स्ट आई विल एक्सेप्ट वन n, क्योंकि n इज द लास्ट वैल्यू. ठीक है, सो n वैल्यू आई हैव टू आस्क फ्रॉम यूजर. तो n इज इक्वल टू int input. Okay, then I will define a function which will always return the factorial. तो क्या लिख सकते हो? Def, let's say I give the name as fact. It will accept a value 1 जिसका factorial निकालना है बार बार. तो first time I will pass 1 to 8, second time I will pass 2 to 8, third time I will pass 3 to 8. And where I will pass, I am just giving you an idea. I will run a loop of 1 to n. In the body of the loop, I will keep on calling every time. देखो अभी, it will be clear. Okay, fact. And how do you find the factorial? F is equals to 1. ठीक है, for I in just factorial का program I'll write in the body and will give it a name with def. In range 1 to n plus 1. Okay, and then I'll write f is equals to f multiplied by 1. Now here I will return, because later down I need the value of this factorial जो भी n का calculate हुआ है. So
Sir, f is equal to f into I, sir.
oh sorry, 1 दे दिया मैंने, my bad. Okay, f into I. Good. Return f. अब देखो क्या करेंगे. I have defined this function in the global scope. Outside the definition of function, I will write for. उससे पहले क्या करेंगे? I have to find sum. I'll take a variable s is equals to 0, and then I'll write for I in a range 1 to n plus 1, and I'll do every time s is equals to s plus I by fact of I, and then I will final value outside this loop, I will print the value of s. Observe this program for another 15-20 seconds or half a minute and let me know if it is making sense. This is our last program for today. मैंने एक क्या किया, I'll just dry run it once again. I have taken one number input. I have defined I have written a piece of code which finds the factorial, and I have given it a name using the def keyword as fact, and it will accept one parameter. Okay, and on this parameter it will be the value that it will accept in the parameter n, it will always find the factorial of that number and will return the factorial.
Sir, you are given fact and then you are given f.
This is इसमें तो देखो, this is the name of the function of this entire piece of code, and this is a value which has to be returned from inside.
Okay, sir. Okay.
इसको x लिख दो, the variable name है. It's a local variable inside the function definition fact.
Sir,
Yeah.
the f, if we replace the f with fact,
No.
would it throw an error?
Yeah, you should not. वो फिर हॉचपॉच हो जाएगा. Don't go into that. अभी उस पे नहीं डिस्कस करेंगे. बस just remember कि whatever name you have given, f पसंद नहीं है तो x ले लो. Replace everywhere f with x. But I have taken it, no worries. So what I am doing is, to a piece of code which always finds a factorial of n, where n is where the name of that piece of code I have given is fact. Whenever I'll call that name, it will run this piece of code with the value passed at that time, and it will return that, it will find the value f will be returned, and in the denominator, once the value has been returned, this value will be replaced with the result computed for this I as the factorial. Okay, and then sum will be performed, will put into s. Next time, next value of I will be picked up, that is 2. Okay, then here right side will be evaluated first, last value of s, that means this thing, plus 2, n is I is 2, 2 by factorial of 2. It will call here, so it will immediately invoke or bring this definition into existence with the value 2 passed to the parameter n. Factorial of n will be computed. This will, after computation, this f which is storing the factorial will be thrown out as the value final result, and this entire thing will be replaced with the value of that. Okay, then I by this will be calculated, will be added to s, that is the last part, this one, and then this will be replaced with this. Now this, after the end of second round, s contains the sum of these two. The third round I becomes 3. फिर वो right side पे आ जाएगा 3 by factorial of 3. Immediately it will bring this into existence. 3 आ जाएगा n का, with the value of n it will as 3 it will find the factorial of n, that is factorial of 3, which is calculated in f, and then it will be thrown out. So this will be after the function is executed, this entire piece of program control will come here, this entire piece of thing will be replaced by the value thrown, then 3 by 3 factorial will be calculated. Sum of previous two, मतलब ये दोनों के sum में, in the sum of these two, this 3 by 3 factorial will be added. It will go on till n. Ordinary method से ये हो ही नहीं पाता, because you don't know how many times you will have to do the factorial. वो लिखते रह जाते. Is it making sense? Let me know.
Sir, could you please try run it once again?
ठीक है. Here what you are doing, you are creating a value, variable n, some user input. So a memory location is reserved with value n, identifier n attached to it, some user input. Here a piece of code which finds the factorial of a number is given a name, given an identifier or name, what? Fact, which accepts one value as parameter for which it is going to find factorial every time it is called. Every time it is called and returns the factorial. Returns means throws out factorial as the final answer. For each particular invocation or each particular call. Each invocation or call. जितने बार कॉल करोगे, every time you call with a different set of value, every time it will find the factorial of that number and will throw out the final factorial value to the point invocation or call to the point from where it was invoked, from where it was called or invoked. Okay. Now, what happens here? Here you are creating a variable s with a value 0 or identifier s to that location. Remember, merely by defining the function, okay, that function does not itself gets activated. You have to call it. ये तो बस definition हुआ. Nothing else will happen. Program will see and will compiler will see, Python will see and will move forward. क्योंकि a function is defined, it will come into existence whenever called. It will simply start execute this line, then it will execute this line. It will simply bypass this line. अच्छा ठीक है, इसको जब when we will call it, we will see. Okay, then it will come to this line.
Sir, so the entire piece of code comes into existence only after we define s equal to 0.
No, entire piece of code will be executed only when every time this is called. See, this piece of code is simply lying there in your program script. It won't go into the memory till the time you call it. Okay, this will be executed. Python will simply read through it and will check for syntax error. If there is no syntax error, it will come down here, but will not perform any other action. Ankit, samajh rahe ho? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
It will simply check for syntax errors कि कोई syntax error तो नहीं है. So if it doesn't find any syntax error, it will simply come to this line and then it will create a variable. It will create a variable here. It will create a variable here. In this part, it will only do no action other than checking for syntax errors because it knows this is a function definition. This piece of code will matter only when it is called. Okay, so it only checks for syntax error, comes to this line, creates another variable s, then the loop is run. In the list generated, the list will be generated from 1 to n. First time I gets the value as 1. So first time when I is equals to 1, okay, s is already 0, s is 0, it gets inside. क्या होगा? S will become, s is already 0 on the top. It will get inside for I is equals to 1. Right side will be evaluated as 0 plus I is 1 by fact of 1. ठीक है? So this will be computed as 0. The moment this is found, encountered, it will immediately create a function, bring a function into existence in the memory. Value 1 will be passed to it, which will throw final value of f as 1. And then once this entire body is executed, this will throw value as 1. Then this will change to 1 by 1, which is equals to 1. Okay, and then this will be assigned to S. ठीक है? For
And S will be printed. And S will be printed.
हाँ, and नहीं, print अभी S नहीं होगा. S is printed only after all the rounds is, see, S is not inside the body. Ankit, S is outside the body of for. So program execution won't reach here till the time all the this loop is run completely. How will it come out to in the global scope? Not in the global scope, that means outside the body of the loop. Are you getting, Ankit? Okay. Now, next time I will become 2. When I becomes 2, क्या होगा? S is, last value of S was 1. So then this will be changed to 1 plus 1 by 1 by factorial of,
Sir, it should be 2 by.
oh sorry, 2 by 2 by factorial of 2. ठीक है? Which will be calculated as 1 plus 2 by, the moment you write factorial of 2, it will again create a function in somewhere in the memory with the n as 2. Okay, then it will find the factorial of 2, which will be 2 itself. It will throw, then it once it is called, and then again it will come back to the place where it was called with the final value overwriting that expression. So that will be 2, which is again equals to 1 plus 1, which is equals to 2, and this will become the new S because it has to be assigned to the left side. Then for I is equals to 3, what will happen? This right side will become as S last value was 2 plus 3 by fact of 3. The moment you write fact of 3, the name has come, it will be called, it will come into existence with the n equals to 3. Factorial of 3 will be found out, which will be 6. 6 will be thrown out, and then this will be replaced internally. 3 by 6, which will be as, कितना हो जाएगा? 2 हो जाएगा, no? 2 plus 1 by 2. ठीक है? And then this is around 2.5 will be saved into S new value. This way it will go on till n, and it will find the sum of all. Yeah, Kevin?
Yes, sir, understood, sir.
Understood now? So this will go on till n. So 1 by 1 factorial plus 2 by 2 factorial plus 3 by 3, like that it will go on till it will, final value of S, which you will print outside the body of for loop, will be nothing but the sum of all the numbers in a cumulative manner in this expression, or sum of all the terms rather. ये देखो, let me know if it is clear. We'll stop here only, and we'll have 4 or 5 more classes with exhaustive program practice here for these functions. It's a very easy concept. If you get it, if you get the gist of it or hang of it, all the program you will solve with functions. Without functions, there is nothing in the world. कुछ है ही नहीं, meaningless हो जाएगा programming language. And I'll also explain this part. Remind me tomorrow. This is a very important thing, divide and conquer approach. Okay. You will understand कि वो जो automatic cars होता है, self driving cars होता है, automatic features are coming, उसमें how the functions are used. I'll explain that thing to achieve the functionality that you feel कि वो car button press करने पे कुछ काम हो जाता है, you do something. So those things will become clear. Okay. ठीक है. If everything is clear, all of you पहले ये बताओ, who all are here? आज तो उसका आवाज ही नहीं सुना मैं. आवाज ही Abhay and others. Abhay is here.
Yes, I'm here, sir. Yes, sir.
You are understanding?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. Bharat? Bharat is there.
Yes.
Okay, good. ठीक है